How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Thanks for having me.
Good. Great to meet you.
Yes.
Let's see here. Give me just a sec.
Sure.
And you can hear me okay? No
I
echo
can.
background?
Not at all.
Okay, perfect. Perfect. Take your mind into the wonderful world of physical, emotional, psychological, and spiritual wellness. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Kinetic Hour. Conversations with you and guests with your host, Kenan Wesley Mason. All right. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and welcome to another edition of the Kinetic Hour. I am your host, Kenan Wesley Mason. Welcome one, welcome all, and thank you all for tuning in to another edition. It's always a great thing to have you all here. As always, I'm simulcasting live on Facebook, simulcasting live on Instagram, and simulcasting live on LinkedIn. So, welcome to all three platforms. As always, go to my YouTube channel and my Rumble channel and subscribe. Click thumbs up, click the like button, click notifications. Tell everyone that you know to subscribe to the Kinetic Hour. Leave your comments. Tell everyone you know to leave comments regarding the comments. And it's always great. Leave comments, questions. We're going to have a great conversation. As always, like I say, whether it's one person or 1,000 people watching and listening, my voice will continue to permeate. So thank you all for tuning in. And as you can see, I have my guest today, and I'm glad she's here. She's been in practice for 2 decades. She's a doctor of acupuncture and Chinese medicine. She's also a fellow on the American Board of Oriental Reproductive Medicine. She's helped thousands of patients achieve their health and wellness goals. Her latest venture is being the CEO and founder of the Formula 4, a line of topical herbal creams that help to relieve pain and provide all natural, serious relief solutions. And she's here to talk about that and a whole lot more. Let's welcome to the Kinetic Hour, Dr. Candace Jania.
Hi. Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for taking the time out to be my guest. It's good to meet you as well. I have so many things that I want to get to today. I have so many notes right here on either side of me.
Oh, good.
So the first thing, though, let's take a step back and go to your background and what led you to go down this path and what brought you to go into the profession of health and wellness.
Yes. So, I understand, especially you being a holistic practitioner, you're going to understand my journey probably better than anybody. I used to get migraines almost daily, all the time. I mean, and they were crippling. And I went to every doctor known to man, neurologists, allergists, everybody. And all they would do was give me medication, and either it wouldn't work or it would have really serious side effects. I mean, one of the prescriptions they actually gave me was Oxycontin. That was a long time ago.
Oh, wow.
And I didn't know anything about it at the time. And I actually took it and I'm like, this doesn't really work. Thank
Yeah.
God. I
Yeah.
could have, I really could have easily gotten addicted to medication, and I thank God that I didn't. But one day I, was just kind of researching my options, and I stumbled upon acupuncture, and I decided to give it a try, and it changed my life. It
Mm-hmm.
changed my life. I got herbs, I did acupuncture, and now I get a migraine maybe once or twice a year, maybe three times if I push it with sugar, or I know what I did usually to bring it on.
Right.
But my life is completely different, and so much I quit my job and I dedicated my life to Chinese medicine, and I haven't looked back since, because for me it's the greatest medicine on earth.
Yeah, yeah, and I haven't gone as in depth in Chinese medicine, but it was introduced to me several years ago, and I have had acupuncture several times over the
Oh,
years as well.
great.
Um, and before we go into the Formula 4, can we talk about acupuncture just for a few?
Please.
Um,
Yeah.
just because some people are still kind of hesitant to go that route when it comes to health and wellness and healing.
Yes.
So, just can we go over just some fundamentals for a few? What is acupuncture, and what what are the ultimate benefits of people to at least consider it as a healing remedy?
Sure. So acupuncture was established thousands and thousands of years ago in China. And acupuncture and Chinese herbal medicine were the main way that people, was the main medicine of China for thousands and thousands of years. So they really, they really were able to um, tackle pretty much every problem that they like dermatology, gynecology, musculoskeletal, like everything. So it was really an all-encompassing medicine. More specifically, if you want to talk about acupuncture, because people don't really understand how it works. So it can tackle many, many different problems in the body. But how it does it, I like to tell people that it's basically the meridians are basically like a road map. So if you think about meridians as roads, highways, byways, and the acupuncture points are maybe intersections. So when I put a needle into the acupuncture point, it's basically directing traffic. So the
Right.
energy of your body are the cars and the trucks going through the body. The acupuncture needles are directing traffic. So if there's a traffic jam, there's going to be problems. If
Hmm.
there's too many cars, going to be problems. If there aren't enough cars, there's going to be problems. So what the acupuncture needles do is it kind of like makes the flow of the traffic continuous and unending. And that's when you have balance and wellness.
Mm.
And there's no needle, I'm sorry, there's no medicine in the needles. I have people ask me that all the time. I said they're just stainless steel filament needles, and they're really tiny. And I think that's usually one of the biggest things that people talk about. Like if I say I'm an acupuncturist, they're like, "Oh my God, I hate needles." And I'm like, well, they're not needles. I wish I could tell them, well, I wish I could call them something different, because they're like the
Right.
size of a hair. They're
Yeah.
tiny, and they're actually meant to go between the tissues
Yeah.
versus a hypodermic needle, which is hollow. And it's meant to cut through the tissue and either deliver something or take something away. Whereas
Hmm.
acupuncture needles are just kind of meant to go in the body and come out, and that's it.
Mm. Hmm. Yeah, and the meridian system is something that we rarely hear about in the mainstream.
Yes.
Um, uh, just real quick, if you can explain the meridian system and what it is. I know you mentioned it's like it's like traffic. It's like freeways.
Yeah. Yes, that's exactly what it is. And we call it chi. It's basically energy that's running through the body in these specific, meridians or highways within the body. And each of them is associated with a different organ system. So you have the kidney meridian, you have the liver meridian, the stomach meridian, et cetera, et cetera. There's
Mm.
12 main meridians, and they all have different functions in the body, and all the points also have different functions in the body.
Right, right. Yeah, they correspond with different organs.
Correct. Now, in Western medicine, they're actually finding that there's a lot of overlap within the nerve bundles of the body and the acupuncture meridian. So they're doing a lot of kind of testing to see like how they came up with the meridians, because
Mm.
no one really actually knows how
Hmm.
or why or when it started.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting. I don't even know.
Right. And it is interesting. I remember when I saw the movie Lucy for the first time, and they showed Scarlett Johansson's character. She was looking at this tree, and she could literally see the energy channels going up and down from the root all the way to the leaves, and how they were different colors of the light spectrum as
Right.
well.
Right.
You know,
Similar, I guess. Yeah,
yeah,
very similar. And they'll even have like they have a lot of research too, which I would hope that would make people less skeptical about trying acupuncture. There is a ton of new research all the time, RCTs, in really good journals proving its efficacy, kind of trying to figure out how exactly it works. If you just do a quick search online, you can find tons of things. And if anybody that's listening has something that they want to be addressed, all they have to do is put that in plus acupuncture, and then look at see what comes up, because I bet that acupuncture can address it in some way.
absolutely. Yeah, and I've had acupuncture a few times, and it is a different experience when you allow yourself to experience it.
Yeah.
You
What did you
literally,
think of your
y-
of acupuncture?
well, I loved it.
Good.
I loved it, and only because I was open to it, because I went into holistic health and learning, and you could literally feel the energy flowing after a while, especially when the heat lamps are penetrating the I guess, for lack of another word, the needles.
Yes. Yes.
So the heat, I guess, it generates a specific flow of energy, or it opens the channels of energy,
Correct.
so they can flow a little bit better and easier. Because many, if not most people, don't realize that um, energy, or what we call pain or discomfort, it can get stuck.
Yes, exactly. And that's exactly what causes pain in Chinese medicine, is the lack of free flow. And that's why we
Right.
talk about the traffic jam and direction, because we want to make sure that everything is flowing, and then that way there's no pain.
Right, right. It allows it kind of opens up the gridlock, if you will.
Exactly, exactly. Yes, that's exactly right. Yep.
Since we're talking about a freeway system,
Yes,
um, which is what again, this is why uh, Chinese medicine. I know a lot of uh, African cultures use kind of the same methods, and it's something that most of us have no earthly clue that we even have a meridian system,
right.
or that energy flows up and down. We just think of the Western way as we have the blood and the veins and the arteries; those flow up and down from the
Yeah,
heart.
that's
you know
right. Exactly.
but when you go a little deeper into the body, you have your uh, invisible meridian system, um, and then we go into, I guess, the quantum level, going into the atom, and again, all of it goes back to energy, or the frequency, or the vibration,
That's
and
right.
and
Exactly.
and once acupuncture is administered, it just kind of opens you up, and you can literally feel the opening, or the channels opening in the body,
Yes.
or you can feel the organ that's being relieved, if you will. Some people feel that as well.
Yes,
Um,
correct.
you
Yeah,
know,
it's cool, because even in treatment, like there'll be times when, I'll put a needle, like say in somebody's hip, and they're like, "Oh, I felt it," and they're like, "Oh, I felt it all the way down to my foot," and they'll actually trace the
mm,
entire meridian down the entire leg exactly where it is.
yeah,
And even after 20 years, I'm still like, "Wow, that's so cool."
yeah,
Even though I've seen it so many times,
it is.
it's just always cool to me anyway.
Yeah, it is. It's fascinating, which is why I've always been intrigued with how the body operates on a much deeper level than just the flesh and the bone. Um, Now, you went into Chinese medicine as opposed to standard allopathic medicine, and you specialize more in pain and skincare. Now, why did that become such the focus for you?
Well, so actually, when I first started, I was actually focused on women's health, women's fertility, pregnancy, postpartum, and I was very much for the first 15 years of my practice. That's mostly what I did. But after a while, especially around COVID time, I kind of opened up to being a little bit more of a generalist. And I think a lot of my patients that actually had babies came back and they're like, well, my kid has this. I have this now. My shoulder hurts. My husband hurt his back. And so like all these people came back because they trusted me and the acupuncture. So my practice became much more broad because they all kind of came back and had their family members coming in. So that's when I did a little bit more, just a lot more pain work. And a couple people in my practice also specialize in pain and fertility and other things. But that's why, and we also started doing some more skin work as well. So.
Okay. And you mentioned that before you were looking for things, or you created what you couldn't find.
Oh yes. So
You
that's what
created what you couldn't find.
Yes, that is correct. So again, it was like right around the time of COVID. I would basically, with my pain patients, I would layer on a couple different things. So there's a special liniment in Chinese medicine called Dacm, and it's like a pain relieving kind of so we soak herbs in alcohol for a long period of time and we strain that liquid out, and that's what a liniment is. And we apply this liquid to painful parts. Then you have to like heat it and put wrap on it, and it's kind of a process. But I also found that they had a lot of relief with CBD cream. So I was always like, well, why don't you get this liniment, but I also want you to do the pain cream. So I want you to kind of like layer it on because that's going to give you the best result in between treatments for pain management. And then it kind of dawned on me like, well, why don't I just make one myself? This is so silly. Like I'm telling them to buy all these different products. And that's how the formula for pain was born. And that was my first product for the line of topical medicine that we have now.
Okay. And so as we go into the Formula 4, from what I've seen on your website and reading a couple of articles that you've participated in, the Formula 4 has kind of 3 key ingredients, and I want to go over them, and you can tell us the benefits. The first one that I looked upon is castor oil. And people have been using that for generations.
Yes.
So why castor oil, and what are the benefits?
Okay. So castor oil, so that's specifically in my menstrual cramps formula.
Okay.
And it's also going to be in my new formula that hasn't come out yet, which is the formula for athletes. Because so castor oil people use castor oil for everything. But for me specifically, it really is great at reducing inflammation and soreness, and pain, menstrual cramps also. So anything that's like kind of coagulated also, like it helps to disperse. So it's a very dispersing topical. So I know athletes use it on their sore muscles to get over like soreness and pain after big workouts. Women use castor oil packs when they have either fibroids, endometriosis, or just painful menstrual cramps. And then people even just use it topically on their skin just for beauty nowadays too, which it also works for. But those are the 2 specific indications that I'm using it for in my creams.
Got it. And I want to put something up on the screen here, because when I was looking up some of the origin of where castor oil comes from, and I pulled this up, you'll see this on the screen here. I pulled this up, and when I saw the right here, I saw these little green things, but then I looked at the tree that I have right here outside, and I was like, wait a minute, these little things look familiar here. Now, because it's still officially winter, they haven't grown yet, but when they fall off the tree here, I'm going to take this out so you can see this.
Ah,
There's these right here. Now
yes,
these fall off the tree after so long, and the birds come and pick the seeds out of these little holes here.
yes.
So when I looked at it, I'm like, wait a minute, we have this in the backyard here. I was like,
That's,
whoa.
yes, we actually use that specifically in Chinese medicine, that seed pod.
Yes.
It's called lulu tong. And again,
Okay.
it's for pain and we call blood stasis. So,
Okay.
and and what I was talking about was that dispersing, right? So if you see how that is,
Mm,
it's meant to disperse, right? Because of the shape of
right.
everything. So the shape and the color and what it looks like is always going to be a key to what it does, which is
Okay.
really cool. Um,
Okay.
I don't know if I don't actually, to be very honest, I don't know. Is that castor oil? I know
I,
that as I know the Chinese name. I'm trying to think of the English name because we have those here too.
there's this one, if I'm not mistaken. Well, I've been told that it's like a sugar beads or oh gosh, I can't think of the name of the exact tree.
I know. I keep like I always know the Chinese name, but I never know the English
Yeah,
name.
yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
find those everywhere, and actually, they're very helpful for flu as well. They have a very big antiviral properties as well.
Yeah, when the wind blows hard enough, you can see the seeds literally blow onto the grass, and
Huh.
and the birds kind of love it.
I'm
You know,
sure. Yeah.
yeah, the birds love it. Um, so yeah, castor oil. When I saw that, I'm like, holy crap, we have this right here. I might be sitting on a gold mine. Who knows?
Yeah,
Uh,
and the cool thing about the way we use the castor oil also, I don't know, have you ever touched castor oil? You know that the how it feels, it's very sticky and tacky and it's kind of hard to use.
yeah.
So even when athletes kind of use it on their body, it's really hard to kind of rub in because how thick and viscous it is. So
Okay.
when we make it into our cream, you can't even tell it's in it. So it
Mm,
just sinks right into the skin. And that's one of the benefits. And that's really why I wanted to include, and also for the formula for athletes that coming out. You can't tell that there's the oil in it because of how we kind of put it into the cream and into the liquid formula. So you can put it on and apply it very easily and it just sinks right in and there's no like
mm,
sticky or tacky. And that's one of the benefits of that cream and
mm.
the liquid also.
Got it. Yeah, yeah. I thought that was pretty cool that that they come from these little plants,
So yeah, it's
these little
amazing, right?
trees.
Yeah.
So the next, which is what I'm interested in, or one of the two, I'm actually interested in all three. But next, I want to go to the essential oils because you use a lot of essential oils, and I'm going to pull this up. This is directly from your website here. And I'm just going to pull this up because I thought this was great because I saw some familiar things here. So here, herbs in the formula.
Yes.
So the first one right here, because because I use the same, I use it as an essential oil, frankincense and myrrh.
Mm-hmm.
And this is some pretty powerful stuff. So, and it's the first one right here that you have on your list here. So,
Yes.
what is the significance of frankincense and myrrh resin? How do they work best as they are working in tandem? What are the benefits?
Yes. So so we call it Mo Yao and Rushang in Chinese medicine. And we use the actual herbs and I extract them first in ethanol to really pull out all of their medicinal benefits.
Right.
And again, we've been using it for thousands of years for trauma and for pain. It moves the blood. So it's great for circulation and then
Mm-hmm.
decreasing inflammation and stopping pain. I mean,
Mm,
and it actually research recently has shown that one will work, but if you put the two together, it works even better. And
right.
again, the Chinese have known this for thousands of years. They call them a dui yao, which means a pair. So
Okay.
we have many different pairs in Chinese medicine that we use that we know is going to just work better in a formula or better when we're using them together. So we almost always use these two herbs almost always together.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Frankincense and myrrh have been used for a long time. You have some other ones that I want to ask you about. You have one here that I saw right here, safflower. Now,
Uh-huh.
now, is this the same safflower that you would see safflower oil in your grocery store? Is that where that comes from?
It
Or is
sure
this
is.
something? It is. Okay.
Yeah, same
Okay.
thing. Although mine's medicinal quality. So I think
Right.
there's different grades and qualities of it. So, you have the food grade and then you have the medicinal grade. Ours
Okay.
is obviously the medicinal grade, but it is the exact same plant.
Same thing. Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So
That's
for
right.
pain and cramps, see, who would have ever thought?
Correct. That's correct. Yeah. And so you
Safflower.
see how it's the red color?
Yes.
So anything that's red is going to have an affinity for the blood.
Correct.
So it moves the
Correct.
blood. So, and it helps again, static blood, which is pain.
Right. This is one of the reasons why I love pomegranate so much, because
Oh,
it mimics the blood, and it stains like blood too. If you drop pomegranate juice on your counter,
that's
you
right.
you're
Forget
gonna have
it.
a hard time cleaning it up, you know?
That's right. Yes, I love pomegranate. That's one of my favorites too.
Yes, pomegranate. And so we have skull cap right here, motherwort,
Yep.
and another one I wanted to look at here, right here, licorice.
Yes.
So when we think of licorice, I know when I think of licorice, I think of red vines. so so
Yes.
so the benefits of licorice, and of course, licorice is not red, but
Right.
licorice is more of a like a brownish blackish kind of a color. So what are the benefits of licorice? As we can see, cramps formula only. So what are the benefits?
Yes. So licorice is so there's again a pair of herbs that help stop spasming and cramping, and it's peony root and licorice. And when you combine them together, it helps stop spasms. So when you have menstrual cramps, the uterus is kind of going like this and it's cramping. So
Uh-huh.
those two herbs together help it to soften and soothe. So if there's the pain is reduced.
Got it. Got it. Okay. Yeah, licorice. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's not just good at the movie theater.
not just
Yeah.
sweet.
Right. Yeah, the sugar rush. And then you have wild angelica, and then you have all the references here that people can go to if they want to get more detailed information, which I think is great.
Yes,
Um,
correct.
because a lot of people really, again, when you talk about the differences or the contrasts between uh, what we call Chinese herbal medicine and standard allopathic medicine, a lot of people don't really understand the power of the herb,
Yeah.
the power of the herb versus versus the power of your standard pain medications. Why do you think people are still so faithful to over the counter or prescription pain meds as opposed to considering these for the same outcome?
Yeah, I'm not sure actually. I think it's maybe just what they're used to, and it's easy, and they just take a pill and it's done. And I think we are a very instant gratification kind of a society,
Yeah,
um,
yeah,
and I
yeah.
think it's just not what we're really used to. Maybe
Hmm.
I think people just that's what they turn to because that's what they know. And I'm
Yeah.
hoping that I can spread the word a little bit so that people don't have to like ruin their stomachs by taking Advil all the time or their liver.
Mm.
There was just a huge article in the New York Times maybe last year, about the use of Advil and like all the problems that are associated with it.
Yeah.
And it's just unfortunate. I mean, of course, like listen, occasional use, like if you're going to take it once in a blue moon, is always good. But if you're taking it chronically, it may very well cause damage. So you just have to be really careful.
I remember in the late 90s, early 2000s, there was a medication called Vioxx
Oh yeah.
um, for pain, and a lot of people were taking it, and a lot of people expired their lives over it.
Yes.
So a lot of these pain medications, whether it's oxycodone or any of these medications, as opposed to the herbs here, if you take them in their right proportion, you're not going to have any quote side effects.
Correct.
you know,
Correct. Especially topically. I mean,
topically, right?
right. It doesn't even go through the bloodstream. You don't have to worry about any reactions to medications you're taking or anything else because you're putting them on topically. And it's just really staying exactly where it needs to be on the body. And, you don't have to worry about it going through your bloodstream and your digestive system and all that stuff because it's just right where it is.
Right, right. Yeah, it's localized directly on the 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 point of the pain or the
Exactly.
or the discomfort.
Exactly.
Um, and so so those are the essential oils, and I'm glad you took the time to really explain those in detail. Now, the third one here is probably the most controversial
Yeah.
for some people, but myself, I've learned some things about cannabis, and I've indulged in THC, and but this is a little different. So, can you explain some of the misconceptions of CBD? Um, well, first explain some of the misconceptions, and then explain why people may want to consider it as a pain reliever.
Right. Sure. Yeah. There's always just this unfortunate mystique around CBD and its association with getting high or THC or cannabis. And most, like, I'm not sure why, because it's been around for quite some time now, I think, especially topically.
Yeah.
And I just feel like there's still a certain stigma to it. But it really is just a constituent of the hemp plant that will help to work on the cannabinoid system, but to reduce pain and just help reduce inflammation again locally when it's applied topically. Like, so if you and any CBD that's legally sold in 50 states, you're always going to have a compliance of like below 0.3% of THC.
Right.
And that actually ensures that it works better. So mine is the full spectrum CBD that I use. So it's
Right.
just like it's not, they don't take out the THC, and they have all the cannabinoids in it, which work on different levels, and so it's not as processed, I guess you could say, as
Okay.
other forms. So it's my feeling that it works better. But when we
Hmm.
use it topically, there is absolutely no hallucinogenic or any type of, like, you're not going to get high, you're not going to feel weird, it's not going to get into your bloodstream, you're not going to all of a sudden be like, oh my god, I can't drive, or I'm seeing things, or
Right.
I'm hungry, or whatever it
Right.
is.
You're not going to get the munchies,
Yeah,
right?
exactly, you're not going to get the munchies, exactly. So it's very safe, it's very safe. And even with some of, like, the restrictions around, I can't advertise on Facebook, I can't advertise on Instagram, I can't, there's so many restrictions, and it's so super frustrating because I want to go get my name out, but I don't have the money to get some of the openings that I need to get, to really do what I need to do. So it's tough.
Yeah, it is tough because of the 90 plus years stigmatization
Yeah.
of cannabis. And CBD is legal in all 50 states, but each state has their own specific regulations, I guess, with
Yes.
how it's formulated, how it's tested, how it's manufactured, how it's pressed, I guess. um,
Everything. Yeah.
everything, everything. And now, because I know that there have been some reports that uh, children have used CBD for certain ailments.
Yes.
Now, is your formula safe for children with the CBD, or is it something that's not recommended?
So again, the only my consideration actually, so I actually call my formula, it's an herbal formula, and it has CBD in it. So
Okay.
so for children, it is safe, but because it has menthol and camphor in it, they
Okay.
need to be old enough so that they don't touch it and then, like, rub their eyes.
Got it.
That's
Got
the
it.
only consideration, really, but it is safe again because it's all natural. There's
Mm-hmm.
nothing wrong with it. If they have pain, it's very safe to use as long as they're of the age that they can understand that if they touch it and rub their eyes, they shouldn't do that.
Ha, right.
Yeah.
Right, right. Yeah, yeah, I guess because children's curiosity will get to them, and they'll, the children, they take stuff, they put it in their mouth, and
Yeah, yeah,
you know,
exactly.
so
But other
yeah,
than that, if they're an older, like a teen, of course, if as long as the parent's okay with it, like young tween, teen, like absolutely appropriate and great for sports, great for pain, great for everything.
yeah. I was gonna say because there are a lot of young athletes at the junior high or middle school level. They're starting their athletic careers
Yes,
at that point, and and any athlete at any age can have certain pain or discomfort,
yes.
leg cramps, arm cramps. You're throwing the football over and over and over again.
Oh yeah.
Track and field, you're constantly using your leg muscles.
Oh yeah. Well,
Um,
my son is running at NYU,
okay.
and he's a
Okay.
track and field athlete, and he like has lots of bottles of it, but he's hesitant to use it because of the regulations and the
Mm,
testing.
mm,
So that's why I'm actually creating the formula for athletes, which is
okay.
it's going to be a very similar formula. It's going to have the same herbs in it, same menthol, camphor, and the essential oils, but there's no CBD. But I did add castor oil and MSM, which is like a sulfur-based compound. And I don't,
Yeah.
yeah, it
Yeah.
sounds like
Yeah.
you knew that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's going to be specifically for athletes so that they don't have to worry about the CBD, because there was another high-profile athlete that reached out to me about they wanted to do a collaboration with the formula for pain. And then once they found out that it had CBD, they're like, nope. And I'm like, oh, seriously? It was such
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
killer. So
Yeah.
that's why I was like, you know what? I really have to have another one that athletes can use very safely, but it's still going to be highly effective.
Yeah. Again, it's unfortunate
Right?
that because a lot of athletes, I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think it may have been the NFL kind of lifted some of their regulations with the athletes, to actually use THC for their calming effects,
Wow.
during the off season. Now, I could be wrong, um, because a lot of athletes have been complaining about a lot of the pain medications that they've had to take for their broken arms or broken legs or twisted knee or whatever it is that they have,
Yeah.
and they're taking all these pain medications, but they're not getting better. And when they indulge in cannabis, the claim is that they're feeling more relief,
Sure.
of they're feeling more relief of their injuries, or they're having faster or they're healing a little faster with another outside natural source versus the standard pain medications that they've been taking over and over and over and over again.
Right.
And then when they retire, they're all busted up, they have concussions, they have mental stuff going
PPE,
on.
yeah, yeah, it's terrible. I
you
know, they
know
get so beat up in the NFL.
and so something like this could be beneficial, but because of the stigma, it's like, what can you do? So we need to bring more awareness to CBD, um, and to just cannabis. Period.
Yeah,
Cannabis has been used for almost actually, cannabis is one of those herbs that have been used for thousands of years as well.
that is correct. It is a sacred herb. It is a
It's,
sacred herb.
yeah,
It sure is.
and a lot of people, unfortunately, because of its medicinal uses, some people have even called it a panacea, um, because uh, globally, it heals such a wide spectrum of ailments, or it has in the past. Whether the Native Americans have used it, whether the Chinese have used it, whether African culture has used it in we're talking again thousands of years.
Yes.
And so uh, when we get into the mainstream of American or westernized ways of health and wellness, um, we don't look at herbs as because you can't patent nature. So so herbs are not looked upon as the first line of defense most of the time. And so
Right.
we need to bring more awareness to not only to cannabis, but to frankincense and myrrh and licorice and safflower and all the other herbs that you have on your list there. Um, let's go to nutrition, if I can, because again, we're talking about pain in the body, and a lot of people overlook their symptoms, or
Yes.
they overlook their symptoms, or they don't take heed to the signals. You know, our bodies are like, the signals are like alarm clocks going off in our body telling us, hey, you need to kind of check this out here.
Yes.
um, let's talk about nutritional deficiencies and how nutrition plays a role in creating pain, and how um, adding certain nutritional elements can relieve it.
Sure. Yes, I love nutrition because I think it's such a key component to health in general.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I think it's just still overlooked. Like one of my patients came in the other day and she was like, "Oh, I just went to my gastro and we were talking about her stomach problem." And I'm like, "Well, what did they say about your diet?" She's like, "Well, they didn't ask." I'm like, "But they're a
Mm,
gastroenterologist. Like, how can they not talk about your diet?"
right.
And it just blew my mind that it wasn't even something that they brought up. And that is a huge problem in medicine where they just don't, or they talk in such generalizations. And it's actually, I don't really agree with a lot of what they say. Um, I think the most important part of the diet is making sure you incorporate anti-inflammatory foods into your diet and cut out the inflammatory foods in your diet. And that will help decrease your pain. I'm not saying all pain because sometimes it's structural,
Yeah.
right? But a lot of times it can decrease joint pain, it can decrease overall pain, wherever it may be, if you eat the correct diet. Most of the time, again, Chinese medicine is very individualized, and I believe that diet should also be very individualized.
Yeah.
So there's a couple different points that I like to go over with my patients. One, do you have a specific heritage? Like, what did your ancestors eat? Right? Because I think that's important. Like, what was your body developed to eat over the long term, right? Like,
Right.
so let's say you were in like the Pacific Southeast, right? So maybe they were eating a lot of coconut products and things like that, right? So you want to try to kind of, incorporate those types of foods, those whole foods
Yeah.
into your diet.
Yeah.
If you're, it just depends on where you're from. And so we one talk about that. That's just a small component, right?
Yeah.
And then the second component is, okay, what is your body liking and what is it not liking? Because again, most of the time, your body's going to tell you what it likes and what it doesn't like. So let's say if you eat bread, somebody eats bread and they're like, yeah, I usually get bloated after I eat pasta or bread. And I'm like, well, why are you eating it? And they
Yeah.
say, well, my celiac test was negative. And I say, I don't really care. Your body's telling you it doesn't like it. Like, let's just find out, right? And
Yeah.
let's see how
Yeah.
you do because it's giving you feedback. I don't care what the stupid test says.
Ah,
Um,
right. Right.
Right? I
Yeah.
mean, and then the third thing is just in like you want to incorporate foods that are going to decrease inflammation in the body. So, your wild salmons, your good quality oils, your very colorful fruits and vegetables.
Hmm.
I really like a paleo-ish type of diet.
Okay.
I find that it fits most people in general. And but again, making those changes for people's heritage background, for people's lifestyles, and other things, and then maybe their constitution in Chinese medicine. So again, I never say, oh, it's going to fit everybody.
Yeah.
But that's kind of how I kind of work and kind of talk to people about what they're eating. Sugar, of course, is a huge, huge, huge inflammatory thing that we put in our bodies, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And so that's always going to be something I want to reduce. But I always, again, try to tell people like 80-20, because this is a lifestyle change. And I know you work in the, in the holistic field as well. So I'm sure you understand telling
Yeah.
people this, because if you say you can never have sugar again, I'm sorry, but that's just not going to fly. And then they'll
Right.
go crazy and eat a whole cake, right? Because
Yep.
they're like, I want cake.
Yep.
So 80% of the time you want to eat really, really clean. And then 20% is life. You have birthday parties, you have celebrations, you're going out with your family, whatever it is, or sometimes you just want a cookie, and that's okay.
Yes. Right.
Right. But,
Right.
try to get the cleaner version if possible. But like, sometimes you just do it. Your body's amazing and it can actually handle it on occasion.
Yeah.
But the problem lies when we're doing it all the time. We're always
Mm-hmm.
eating fast food. We're always eating like poor quality meats that are factory farmed, right? Which are inflammatory. So like I'm a huge proponent of grass-fed meats, pastured animals, because what they eat and how they live changes them from pro-inflammatory to anti-inflammatory and healthy. So I'm
Right.
not, I don't know. I know there's a lot of different schools of thought, but that's just me personally. So
Yeah.
if you're going to eat meat, I want you to eat grass-fed beef. If you're going to eat chicken, you want to try to eat organic pastured chicken, right?
Mm-hmm.
Those that, instead of those that are factory farms having corn and just all sorts of stuff. I mean, somebody even told me like the farmers were feeding their feedlot cattle sprinkles because they ran out of money or something. They were just feeding them local sprinkles, like, on the ice cream. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
ew, seriously?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
like other poor quality things. And that's going to make the meat inflammatory. It's going to change the omega ratios within the meat, and that's not going to be good for you. So, your fast food meats and things like that. So you want to be careful of those. You want to be careful of course, like your poor quality carbohydrates and things like that. You want to focus more on like, again, whole foods. And, you really want to reduce your processed food intake and poor quality oils, so your canola oils and your seed oils and things like that are pro-inflammatory. So there's a lot you can do. And again, it depends on your personality. Are you an all or nothing type of person, or you kind of want to gradually get to that point? I usually ask people that, like, and most people are like, oh yeah, I just need to cut it all out. I'm like, all right, cool, just do it.
Yeah.
And then other people, I'm like, just take one thing away a week. Try to like take your wine, like, instead of having 6 glasses of wine, maybe just have one on Friday, right? A half a glass on Friday, like really cut it back and see if that's going to make a difference. And then the next week, try not to eat any sweets during the week and maybe just leave one for the weekend, right? So again, they're kind of like going towards where they want to go. And it's not that drastic that they're going to feel like, oh my God, I can't do this. It's too much. It's too limiting.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my general overview on diet. Like I have a lot of opinions on diet, as you can see.
No. This is great. Because we're so spoiled here in America. We're so spoiled. We have everything at our disposal. You mentioned bread. We hear about gluten this, gluten that. I can't eat this, I can't eat that. We know that the wheat is sprayed. The wheat fields are sprayed to high heaven with
Yep.
pesticides and herbicides. Being old school, we used to have Wonder Bread and
Oh yeah.
all this fluff
I used to love that.
bread.
Oh, I love
Yeah.
fluff it. Yeah, the best.
Wonder Bread and Weber's and all this
Yeah.
old school stuff. But now looking back, you know, this stuff, this was the fluff bread that creates the inflammation.
Yes.
The gut inflammation, and so I go to, I'll tell people to, try to find like a multi-grain type of bread. Ezekiel bread might be
Yes.
an option.
Yes. I also love sourdough.
Sourdough.
Yeah, like a simple sourdough, and you can look at the ingredients, and it's like flour, water, and then the sourdough starter,
Right.
and salt, and that's it.
And that's
right?
it.
And and if your body does not mind that, there's nothing wrong with it. Like
Yeah.
if you eat it and you feel great, like no bloating, no stomach issues, no like, like go ahead. Like,
Yeah.
Again, it like a very simple bread, as long as it doesn't, stay, like if you see bread that's not refrigerated or frozen and it's been sitting on the shelf, It's got preservatives like crazy
Yeah.
because they don't want it to get mold. So it's
Right.
right. So it can sit on the shelves for like,
Shelf life.
yeah, weeks and weeks and weeks. I'm like, don't
Shelf
eat
life.
that.
Yeah.
Go to your
Yeah.
butcher, right?
And there's Ezekiel, again, old school. You can go rye bread.
Yes. Yeah,
Uh,
absolutely.
rye. I had a bread called squaw bread,
Oh,
which is I guess comes from another grain. It's a dark color, dark grain, which is really good. Um, but yeah, we're spoiled, and again, it's based on where you live. People live in different parts of the world, so they have different diets. Some people eat meat all their lives, and they live to be 100. But
yes.
but here in America, oh, I can't eat meat. I'm a vegan. I'm a vegetarian. No.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of that either, to be honest. I mean, I have to be honest. I was a vegetarian when I was young for 16 years. And I was always hungry. I was always craving sugar. My cholesterol was 230 at 27 years old. And
Mm,
I didn't eat a drop of fat.
mm.
And once I changed to eating more like paleo ish, it's now like 170.
Okay. Okay.
And I eat
Okay.
like so much butter. I eat like meat all the time. I eat a ton of fat. And it's just because the inflammatory load in my body is way down. And like I
Yeah.
don't eat the sugar. Me personally, I can't eat gluten because if I eat gluten, it looks like I'm like 20 weeks pregnant.
Okay.
And I have like a lot of stomach. I have a lot of issues. I'm probably celiac. So I
Okay.
haven't eaten it my son also. So I haven't eaten it for a very, very long time. But that's
Yeah.
just me.
Yeah.
Again,
Yeah.
I'm not demonizing gluten. Some people can eat it, absolutely no problem.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so like
And
I love that you said that about the vegetarian and veganism because in Chinese medicine, like treats like. So if you eat meat, it creates blood in your body. So
yeah.
if you're not eating any meat, most of the patients that generalization, but most of the patients that don't eat meat or are vegans are very pale. And it's very hard to make blood. So they have a lot of what we call liver blood deficiency signs because they're not eating it. And it's very hard to get it from vegetable sources. I always respect people's decisions though, because I know a lot of people have different reasons for it.
Yeah.
But like I usually like if you ever eat meat, I'll be really happy, but I respect it if you don't.
Yeah. And a lot of people do have their reasons why.
And
I
sometimes
always
religious also. So of course, again, I
right.
always, respect people's decisions. I never push, but if they change their mind, I'm happy.
Correct. Right. Yeah. Some people do have their religious reasons. Some people call their meat kosher.
Yeah.
Some people go that route.
Yes.
Um, I always tell people, like you mentioned earlier, eat the cleanest meats. For example, beef. Here in America, we have the worst beef. Statistically, we have the worst beef on the planet, American beef,
Hmm.
because of what you mentioned earlier about how the cows are fed in the commercial feeding space.
It's awful.
Um, and not only that, the slaughter process, because of all the stress and fear that's built up because they know it's coming.
Yes.
So all of that energy and all of that chemistry saturates the muscle. So when we talk about mad cow disease and all of these other ailments, my joints are stiff, and because I eat this meat, the cheapest meat in your grocery store,
Yes.
that they put these food dyes on to make it look nice and pretty and red, making it look like it's just been slaughtered when it was actually slaughtered maybe a month ago, 30 days,
Yes. It's
and
awful.
then we eat it, versus grass fed, like you mentioned, where the cows are in the fields and they're eating what nature intended. They're eating grass.
Yes.
and
Exactly.
and they get their natural size and they have their natural strength, because cows don't eat steak.
That's right. They don't. Yeah.
Cows don't eat steak.
Yeah. And
And,
they're not supposed to. That's right.
right.
Their
And
teeth and their stomachs, right?
that's
Like
right.
they're not supposed to.
Pigs don't eat pork chops, right?
Yeah, that's right.
you know, chickens don't eat wings.
No, they do
So,
not.
so, so if you're gonna eat meat, make sure it's the cleanest meat that you can get for yourself.
Yeah. Not to
Because
mention if you can support your local farmer too, if you're in that area that you can, even like if you're in a city, a lot of times you can go to a farmer's market and then support those local farmers because they need
yes,
you. You know, they're
yes,
doing a great job and, you know, they're small and they're competing against the big guys and, you
yeah,
know, they're just, it's so much usually healthier. And like you can ask your farmer how they raise their animals and, you
that's
know,
right, that's
it's a
right.
great thing. I really highly recommend that you all do that if you can.
Yeah, and again, eat what's in season as well. Uh,
Yes. Yes,
eat
thank
what's
you. I
in
forgot about
season.
that. Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. Eat what's in season. Um, for example, I always use this example, the watermelon, um, because I love watermelon, but I only eat it when it's in season
Yes.
because the rest of the year we know that the watermelon and the grapes are going to be seedless. They're
Oh,
going to
yeah.
be seedless, and we know that the molecular structure changes once you take certain molecules out to create a seedless watermelon or a seedless grape or a seedless orange. You're changing the molecular structure and you're not getting the full compound of nutrients that the body needs in direct proportion.
Yes.
So, watermelon in season, and it's coming up in the next couple of months, and I can't wait.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And you know what's interesting is that watermelon is actually considered a Chinese herb.
Yeah, yeah,
So it's Qigua, and it's so it and it like so every food has a temperature, and we tell people to eat certain things. Like if you're cold all the time, you want to eat lamb and like a couple other things that are warming and like spices. And if
mm,
you're really hot, you eat watermelon and tomatoes and peppers and things that are in season in the summer because they're thermally cold. So watermelon is cold, which again, to your point, it's so perfect in the summer because it relieves summer heat. And, you know,
right.
like if you're out in the sun and all you want to do is have some watermelon because it just makes you feel so much better,
Yeah,
right? It cools off your whole body. But if you
yeah,
eat it in the winter, you're going to be freezing.
yeah.
Freezing.
That's right.
Right.
That's
So
right.
like, so yeah. So I'd love that you brought that up. So that's perfect.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Eat what's in season. Eat what's in your region
Yes.
of the world. Again, here in America, we're spoiled with everything. But when you live in different parts of the world, whether you're in a more northern hemisphere or more southern hemisphere, you know, everybody's not going to eat the same. You know, some people, again, they eat meat and beef and all this stuff all of their lives,
Right.
and they do have a higher cholesterol than what's recommended here in the States, and they don't drop dead of heart attacks.
Nope. Yeah.
They don't.
Look at the
Their
French
cholesterol.
diet.
Right.
Right? I
Yeah.
mean,
They
like
drink
they
wine and bread
yeah,
and all
and
kind of stuff.
brie and like, yeah, everything has
Yes.
cream in it because it's all good quality, and
That's
that's the
right.
difference. It's
That's right.
all fresh, homemade, and good quality,
Hmm.
and that's
Yeah.
the difference.
It is the difference. I remember when I was in Mexico City. You know, you get to kind of experience different foods and the way they prepare their food. Um, I had this Argentine steak
Ooh,
from, yeah, where they literally import the meat from Argentina, and you can just literally taste the difference.
wow, it must have been delicious.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's something I always remember. And they had this spinach pasta that I never had before then. And just the again, the taste is very different than some of the watered down stuff that we
Oh,
get
yeah,
here, you know.
absolutely,
Um,
absolutely.
and all the seasonings that we have to put on everything to try to make it taste good
Right,
so it can get past the palate, you know.
right, exactly.
Um, and the last thing that is, no matter what you're eating, how are you feeling while you're eating? How are you feeling? You know, are you going to be stressed out after you eat this ice cream?
Yes.
You know, the because you have this quote guilty pleasure that you
Yeah.
like. your ice cream and chocolate chip cookies, and then 30 minutes later you're wishing that you hadn't eaten it.
Yep, can't do that. Yep, I so agree with you. It's so important to like, yeah, if you're gonna have a treat, love that treat.
That's right.
Love it and just enjoy it and be okay with it. And that actually changes how
Mhm.
your body digests it.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, it changes the way you metabolize the food when you're in a
Yes.
when you're in a feel good state.
Yes.
Whether you're eating the steak, whether you're eating the Brussels sprouts. I just had some rice with some sautéed Brussels sprouts,
That sounds delicious.
and I used to hate Brussels sprouts when I was a kid, but now that I'm older and kind of realize what they truly are, you know, I love them now.
Right?
I love them now because when I was a kid, I don't want Brussels sprouts and broccoli and all this stuff.
No.
No, but now I'm more appreciative of what is offered and what's available. What's available, and
Exactly.
I've grown certain things. I've grown chard and spaghetti squash and
Nice.
things like that. I won't do the spaghetti squash again because it literally took over 3/4 of the backyard.
Did it really? How many
Oh
spaghetti
yeah,
squash did you get?
because they grow as big as watermelons when they grow naturally.
Wow.
They were huge. And one of these days I'm going to have to show, because I have pictures. This was back in maybe 2016, 2017.
Oh, you have to post
And
it.
yeah, because they were huge and they were different colors and everything.
Ooh, I
Because,
love spaghetti squash.
oh, yeah. And they grow on vines, but you just have to be careful because they literally spread. They spread, you know.
That's
And
awesome.
but yeah, but they were great. They were great. I remember because my mom lives in Texas, so we mailed her. We gave her two big gigantic ones. They were these huge big watermelon things,
Wow.
and yeah, they were pretty big. But I said, nah, I can't grow these anymore because they take up too much space. You know,
Yeah,
they
that's
were they were
hilarious. I
great.
love
They
it.
were great in the moment, but yeah, I was like, I can't do that anymore. Um, in the final moments that we have, I want to talk about in your practice because, and I like to ask people about this because we hear a lot about mental health this, mental health that. Um, does acupuncture or even the Formula 4 um, can it be beneficial to improve mental health? I'll just put it that way. Can it be beneficial to improve mental health?
Yes, without a doubt. I actually see a lot of that in my practice. There's definitely some points that we use all mostly actually in the head. I mean, we do use body points for calming the mind. We can treat, anxiety and, depression and anything, panic attacks, like all sorts of things people come in with, and it can be just by itself or along with something else, and they just happen to mention it. So I
Mm,
always want to treat because mind, body, and spirit are one in
yeah,
Chinese medicine. There's no differentiation. So if something's wrong with the mind or the spirit, it's going to affect the body and vice versa. So we
right.
always like to treat all three at the same time. So there's this point here called yin tang. So
Mm,
I almost always give this needle to people because
mm,
it's their third eye point and it calms
yes,
them. There's a
yes.
point like and you can even like just tap like this
There you
on
go.
top
Now
of
you're
the head.
talking.
If you don't
Yeah,
have a needle, you can just do tap.
yeah, yeah.
And there's a lot of points actually on the ear as well that we use for the sympathetic nervous system, for the
Yeah.
vagus nerve, for calming. And so I give like little ear seeds for people again, also in between treatments for calming. But you can
Okay.
even just like kind of rub the top of your ear if you're
Yeah.
feeling very anxious, and this will also help like calm you down.
Right.
And then there's points like there's the heart channel and we call it the pericardium or the heart protector. Yeah, 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 yes, yes, yes. You
Yeah.
know it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and those points also have just an affinity for calming
Yeah.
and like helping people get through whatever mental health issue that they're going through. So it's a really, and when we treat depression, it's usually the liver organ that's involved, and it's not your actual liver, but it's the Chinese medicine liver, because
Right.
depression is usually like a lack of movement, like you're stuck, right? It's like you're,
Right.
right, like that feeling of like stuck and heavy.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why we use the liver organ, again, not everybody, but for the, a lot of people,
Yeah.
to move the chi, so you feel like you have movement and you're like open and
Yeah.
more able to walk through this world versus just stuck.
Yeah. 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 Dr. Roger Callahan created what's called thought field therapy, where you tap on certain pressure points, like you were tapping right here,
Yeah.
the third eye chakra, and
Yes.
then you have your root crown chakra
Yep.
up here, and you can
Yep.
tap, and
Chest.
it's more effective than we give it credit for. um,
Yes.
and you can use it if you don't have access to an acupuncturist like yourself. You can take two fingers, and if you know certain acupuncture points, you can tap on them in certain times of discomfort, or if you're having an emotional moment. You can tap. You can
Yes.
tap
Exactly.
and kind
Exactly.
of send like these shock waves through your meridian system, or through your meridian channel, through the
Yes.
channel,
That's
and
exactly.
to
Yes.
help to relieve whatever the discomfort is in that moment. So yeah, I'm glad you demonstrated that.
Yes.
You know,
Yes,
opening
there's
those
this one
channels.
too. Yeah, there's a bunch. I mean, you can even
Hmm.
like go on. Yeah, this one. Yeah, you can
Hmm.
even go online and just say, acupuncture points for whatever you're going through, and
Yeah.
it'll come up with points, and it'll show you where they are, and you can really easily do this yourself, and
Yeah.
and just help yourself along. Like even the act of tapping kind of distracts you from what you're thinking about.
Yes. Yes. That's
And then you
right.
can pair it with like deep belly breathing. So there's a lot of different tools you can use yourself,
Yeah.
without having to resort to other things. Now,
Yes.
again, obviously everybody's situation is different, but it can really be helpful, for a lot of people.
Absolutely. Yeah, it can. Dr. Janie, I want to thank you so much for taking the time out to be here. A couple of more things before we wrap up here, because I saw an article that you did, and you mentioned these right here.
Oh,
Um,
yes. I
these
love
are
that.
and I have different sizes here. Now,
Yay.
these are these are the fire cups. I also have the plastic ones that can be
Mhm.
used as well, but these specifically are for fire cupping.
Oh,
So
yeah.
can you tell us the benefits of cupping as well?
Yeah, I love cupping, and I always exclusively use fire cupping just because I love it. So most of
Yeah.
the time I'm using it for on the upper back and neck for people, because so many people have such tension and pain, and they're like on their computer and their posture, and there's always stress and tension here. So I do a treatment, I do the needles and the muscles. Sometimes I do trigger points up here. And then a lot of times, your fascia will get all bunched up too. So
Right.
when you put the cups on, it just releases that fascial level that gets all tight and bunched up.
Mm-hmm.
And it also releases any tight muscles. It helps to detoxify. It helps to break up scar tissue. So there's like many, many different things that cupping helps. So
Yeah.
I love them. I love, love, love them. We even have something called bleeding cupping, which I know it sounds horrific, but it's one of my favorite things to do.
Mm-hmm.
So if someone has chronic constant pain, and there are, like, you ever see those little blue vessels on people when they have like little spider veins? And if it's
Oh
in the
yeah,
area,
yeah.
so if it's in the area of pain, I actually will take a little diabetic lancet and poke it a couple times, and then I'll put a fire cup on it, and it'll draw out the blood, and it'll actually help pain like 100 times more than just the needle.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty cool
Right.
technique.
Yeah, yeah. Cupping is great. People talk about Michael Phelps and
Oh,
how
yes.
we saw these circles when he was the last time he was in the Olympics. and we saw these circles all over his shoulders and all over his back, and people are like, what the hell is this on his back? You know, this is the cupping procedure, which keeps the blood circulation going
Sure
and
does.
brings blood to the surface. And there's
Yes.
another one which many people might not be aware of, and you can correct me if I'm pronouncing it wrong. It's gua sha or gua sha.
Gua sha, yeah, yep.
Okay, can you explain how that works?
Yeah, so gua sha is similar to cupping. So we just use a tool. I honestly use a Chinese soup spoon,
Okay.
because you can pay a lot of money for a lot of different gua sha tools, and we use it to scrape. So yeah, thank you. So a
Yeah.
lot of people are actually using it for their face these days, which actually, again, helps with circulation and blood flow, and helping with the complexion. If you use a smaller gua sha stone, you can use it on your face.
Okay.
But like I usually use it, I use it on different meridians, depending like if there's an issue in the meridian. Like for lung disorders, I use it a lot on the upper back. If people have a cough that they can't get rid of the phlegm, or asthma, it helps to like detoxify and release like the inflammation in the lungs.
Okay.
And then, but we can also use it again for stiff muscles, for pain, for like releasing like tight trapezius muscles. We can use it on children. So if we don't want to use needles on children, we just use gua sha, like a nice gentle scraping of the meridian to basically like help the chi move along without sticking needles in there. So it's a
Okay.
great gentle therapy.
Right. And that is an option that's available. Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool that I saw there was the guy, they were showing how his back looked. I'm like, holy crap, that's bad. Like,
Oh yeah,
whoa.
it looks very scary, but it doesn't
Yeah.
hurt. It doesn't
Right.
hurt. It doesn't
Right.
like you'll feel it, but it's actually like it looks a lot worse than it actually is.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Just like cupping, when people see the circles, they're like,
Oh, yeah.
is this gonna go away? I'm like, yes, it'll just give it a couple of days. And,
In a couple of days, it'll
you know,
fade, hopefully.
yeah. Yeah. Dr. Jania, I want to thank you so much. Tell everyone where they can find you.
Yes. So my products are at theformula4.com. That's the formula FOR.com. Those are all my products. We have the cramps cream, the pain cream, and the pain spray, and a skin cream also that can help with like dry skin, eczema, rashy, itchy, anything like that.
Okay. Yeah. And are you on any social media or
Yes.
anything?
Okay. Yeah, we're on Instagram, and we're on TikTok.
Okay.
That's about it, though.
Okay. Okay.
At the Formula 4. Yep.
But go to the Formula 4, everyone. Some great products with great ingredients as well. Yes. And I'm glad you took the time out to explain some of those. Final question for you, and I like to ask everyone this. What does life mean to you?
Ooh. Life means the pursuit of happiness and joy and making others happy.
Simple as that.
Yeah, I think so. I think we all, including myself, try to complicate things in life when really I think we all just want to be happy and joyful.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's the one thing we all want.
Yeah. Happiness.
Yeah.
And the pursuit of happiness, and enjoying the process of the pursuit.
Even more important. That's correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
The process of the pursuit. That's a great answer. Dr. Candace Jania.
And
thank you
just
so
as
much.
an aside, I just want to shout out to my partner Hannah also. She designs all of the outside. So she's the creative director. So she does all of the creative directing. She did all the packaging and branding. She's incredibly talented. And she's
yes.
Today, but just so you know, and it's all like eco-friendly and everything. So it's all glass and bamboo.
Yeah. I was going to ask you about that. Yeah.
Yeah, we really tried to make it so that it was very, I didn't want to use plastics and things like that. We try to really lessen our footprint if we can. And not have it leach into our product as well. But she did such a great job designing all of that stuff. So I just wanted to give her a little shout out.
Absolutely. Yeah. You have some real elegant looking products.
Yeah. She's very talented.
Yeah. Yeah. So thank you for acknowledging her as well. So thank you for coming on the Kinetic Hour, Dr. Candace Jania. Check out the Formula 4. The Formula 4. Go to her website and check it out. And I want to thank you again. And come back to the Kinetic
Thank you.
Hour. There's so many other questions that we can deep dive into as far as the meridian system is concerned, and some other things about nutrition. There can't be enough said about nutrition. I mean, so many people are nutrient deficient,
Yes.
which creates many, if not most, of our illnesses. And a lot of us have energy that's stuck. So acupuncture is definitely something to be considered.
Yes.
So yeah, definitely check out Dr. Jania and the Formula 4.
Thank
And
you.
to everyone listening and watching, there's 1,000 podcasts that you can be listening and watching. So thank you for tuning in to the Kinetic Hour. Go to the Formula 4, check out Dr. Candace, and go to my YouTube channels. The Kinetic Hour, that's KENNETIC, the Kinetic Hour. Kinetic Fit and Wellness info as well for everything physical health, mental health, emotional health, spiritual health. Subscribe. Go to my Rumble channel as well. Subscribe. Tell everyone that you know to subscribe. Thank you to Dr. Jania. And until next time.